Hey, Todd the Dirt Man here, and we're talking about the big green egg and actually how to use it. And I'm going to show you in detail everything you need to know about how to use a big green egg. There's a lot of videos out there with different pieces here and there on how to use it, but I'm going to show you, as a guy who's used this for many years, I have lots of experience, the things that I wish I knew when I first bought this. All right, let's talk about charcoal. What kind of charcoal do you need to use? So there's a lot of confusion on why you have to use hardwood and not briquettes. So being the fact that this is a big green egg, you do not want to use briquettes because there are a lot of chemicals and things that can get inside and it will stay. You'll never ever use lighter fluid. First of all, I don't believe in lighter fluid in the first place. It just makes your food taste nasty. You don't want that kind of flavor in there anyways. But this one is made to use for hardwood. So hardwood is basically just wood that's been cooked down to making a charcoal, and there's a whole bunch of different kinds. So these are the two main kinds that I really strongly suggest. Always with the big green egg. Big green egg is fantastic. It's really nice charcoal. My only problem is the price point on here. It can be very expensive. If price point doesn't matter to you, then who cares? And sometimes it's hard to find, so maybe you don't have a store that's near you that actually has a big green egg. Your local store, hardware store, doesn't have it, but most of the stores you can always find Royal Oak. I got this at Home Depot. It's easily found. You can find it at Walmart. This stuff is really great too, and the price point is half the point of the big green egg. Not quite as good as this, but it's good. So you can decide which ones. There's a lot of other good ones out there. There's some good videos that are out there talking about different kind of hardwoods and which ones to use. There's some better ones. You're definitely going to pay for it. But these are my two favorite. All right, so now we're going to dump this. So we're going to talk about two different cooks. We're going to talk about smoking or whether you're doing grilling. I pretty much put the same amount. It really depends upon the cook. You can fill it up more for a long cook. For a shorter cook for a grill, you don't need to fill it up as high. But we're going to throw some of these in here. I already have charcoal here. All right, so now we're going to light up the grill. There's two different ways to how to light up the grill. You can use one of these little lighter cubes. Weber has these, which I really like a lot. They're very clean when starting the fire. Also, Green Egg has some too, made with wood. Great. I really like these. Kind of looks like a hair dryer, but you're not really using it as a hair dryer because you're going to connect it to your electrical source. And then you're going to get close. Right over here, I would look for a big piece, and I just turn this thing on. And what this thing is going to do is blow some hot heat right in here. And it'll take probably about 2 minutes to get this thing lit. This has been about 20 seconds. Getting this lit. You'll start in one area and get this thing going. Now I'm going to move to a different area. Don't want to stick it all the way in. As you're starting to light, just kind of pull it back just a little bit. Get the other side, roll on that again. There we go. Now we'll let that thing go. Look, I have created fire! All right, put this over to the side in an area where it can handle some heat a little bit. This is going to take probably about 5 to 10 minutes just to cool down a little bit, so you don't want to put it in a spot which could possibly catch on fire or melt something, which I have done before. So we've started the fire. I want to make sure you know you want to leave this thing vent wide open right here. And then we're going to leave this up for about 10 minutes, but you can also see I took this off right here. And when we close that up, we're going to want that airflow to keep blowing right in here to keep this fire going. So we're going to leave this open for 10 minutes, and you'll see this nice little fire that's going to get started on here. All right, the fire is going just a little bit, so I'm going to clean up my rack at the same time. So one of the things I like to do is put the rack on there while the fire is burning so we can burn off anything that was remaining from the last cook. As the heat's getting on here, I'm just kind of cleaning this off a little bit, getting ready for the cook. That looks pretty good. We can pull this thing right off. All right, I'm pulling off the rack here. If you got your little rack tool to pull this thing off, that would be good to have. I strongly suggest a good pair of gloves when you're using a green egg. It definitely helps. All right, so it's been about 10 minutes now, and you can see the ash has gotten really around here. That it's really darn hot. At this point, I'm going to close up the tub. We're going to still leave this open right over here so the airflow. So this is wide open down below here, wide open here, so we got plenty of airflow to really get this thing going. And then we're going to check back on this in about 5 minutes. All right, so you can see the temperature is rising. It's well above 500 degrees. So now I'm going to put the daisy wheel on here. So one of the things, the key on the daisy wheel is you see where it says big green egg right on here. So it looks like you should put it in this way, right? Well, here's the problem, is when you lift up the top, this part just slips and falls, and you lose your settings. So what you should always do is turn it the opposite way like this. And then once you set it and you lift at the top, it's gonna stay right there. If you turn it around the other way, this whole part starts moving and then you gotta reset it. So just a little tidbit that you wanna remember. So now let's talk about safety. If I open this thing up right now at 500 degrees and lifted it up, there's a possibility that this whole thing is gonna blow up right on me, okay? It can shoot up if you left this off. So there's a part called burping. So as we very well know with the airflow, you got the airflow going through here, it's circulating through here, it's coming out in this point right here. So right now the air is all contained right inside here. So now we want to burp. So what burping is going to do is going to release, allow the air to slowly kind of come in and control it, and you'll see what's going to happen here. So one thing with safety, you can do this or not do this. I was strongly, if you're going to do grilling at a high heat, make sure you have a glove on just in case the burping doesn't really help and there's a little fire that comes up, at least you're safe. So here we go, let's do the burping. So what I always do is 3 burps. 1, 2, 3. And lift that up and you're safe. Really highly important. So whether you have the glove on or not, closing it up, even if you're barbecuing, I strongly suggest that you always burp the grill. Just make it a habit. If you make it a habit, every time you open this up, you'll never have a problem. The first time I went with a buddy of mine who's had one for 10 years, he did a cook, he got the grill all ready to go, and he said, open it up and go ahead and cook, and didn't tell me about the burping. And I lifted this bad boy up, and I can tell you right now, the fire came right on over. Top of my hair was singed, my eyebrows was singed, right over here was singed. That's a learning experience you don't need to learn. Take it from the dirt man. Okay, so now we're getting this thing ready to smoke. So we're gonna put this on top. You can see the indentations for where the plate setter goes in. So we're gonna put that right in there. Now we're gonna put the water pan right inside. You do not need a water pan, but I really think it helps with the moisture and things like that. Now, before I put in there, I failed to mention you should also put in all your wood in there that you're gonna put in there if you're gonna smoke. Go ahead and put that already in there. Put the plate setter in. Close this thing up like so. And now our goal is to get this thing set at 225. So let me show you how to do the vents. Okay, so now we're gonna close the screen. So if I was gonna smoke and I want 225, I would start at about 1/4 inch right here. That'll handle that and we'll shut down some of the air here. If you need less, you need to turn it down a little bit more. You can close it up even more like so, but I think right at that point is a good start. And let's show you up top. So now I'm going to set this temperature, and if you look at the daisy wheel right here, just the way you see it right there is a good way to get this thing started at 225. Okay, you can see it's already set at 225. It's been about 10 minutes. This is set. Now we're going to put the meat in here. Now once you put the meat in here, it may drop in temperature a little bit. That's okay, don't panic. Put it in there, let it set, wait around for about 10-15 minutes or so. You might even need 20 or 30, and just to make sure your temperature is correct. And once it is, you can pretty much set it and forget it. Okay, now we're going to talk about grilling and getting the heat up. So one of the first things you want to do is you want to come down below with the vent, see how wide open that is. Just kind of close up the vent right there. Just close it up a little bit. We want to get maximum amount of airflow here. Now, if you really want to get this thing hot, I mean, you want to peg this thing to 700 degrees, leave this thing wide open. I'm telling you, it's going to be really hot. You're going to have to really worry about burping. If you're looking to do some steaks, you want to be around 500 degrees. Take your daisy wheel here, big green egg, get onto the back, close that up, and then you're going to open that up fully right here. We got that thing set. We're going to get this thing up to 500 degrees, 600 degrees. It'll take us another 10 more minutes to actually do that, and it'll be nice and hot. All right, let me show you some other things to do, what you'll need to do when you're setting the temperature. All right, so if we were going to set this temperature to around 400 degrees, you're going to maneuver by just turning this thing around like so, okay? That will get you probably around 400 degrees or so, but you know, you only constantly want to keep moving it around until you get the exact temperature. Most green eggs are close to being the same, but they're all a little bit different on the temperature. So you kind of play with it by down below. If you want more airflow, you open that up. And if you want to set your temperature for higher, you kind of move the daisy wheel around to set the temperature the way you want to do it. Okay, we just got done grilling or barbecuing. We're done with the grill. We're not going to use it anymore. So how do we stop the fire? So one of the things we're going to do is we're going to close up the top. We're going to take the daisy wheel off. We're going to burp this 3, 2, 1. I like to put this in here so I know exactly where to find it. You can put it wherever you want. Close that up, and then put your ceramic top right on there. Then you're done. Simple and easy. All right, let's talk about cleaning out the big green egg. This is probably the #1 part that you really need to focus on, because without good airflow on here, this thing is just not going to work properly. So I've done a previous cook, so let's just take everything apart. We're going to take the grate off. We're going to put it down below, and then we're going to take the plate setter, and then I'm just going to put this back on the back rack. So these little side racks really work really well when you're putting things on here, because it gives you another place to put things. So now we're going to go in here, we're going to use the ash tool, and we're going to get deep inside. Now if you look deep down inside here, you want to make sure all these holes are cleared out. That little hole right there, if you just saw all that, I just cleaned that one out right here with my fingers. As I'm doing, I'm constantly doing a circular motion, trying to get this thing out. Okay, we just got done cleaning out here, and now we're going to work our way down to the lower vent here. And now we're going to clean this part out. And you're going to put your tool right in here. Part to put the bucket right underneath here. Now I'm not using a little ash tool that you can put right next to it, and then you're going to dump it. I kind of like it this way, just already having a dump bucket right here ready to go in for your ashes. And then start pulling this stuff out. Again, your airflow is coming through here and out and about, so you want to make sure this is clear. So we're doing one side, pull it out, turn this the other way, and start pulling all this stuff out. All right, so now we've cleaned everything out. You can kind of see it's kind of a dirty job. Being a dirt man, dirty job, kind of funny. But so now we've got a point where everything is clear down below. There's plenty of airflow for everything to flow through here. We know that the holes are all cleared out. And now we can get started with the cook. One thing you definitely need is an ash tool. Definitely go with the long one, not the small one, unless you've got a little tiny grill. If you've got a large or bigger, you definitely need this. I would strongly suggest an ash bucket to put this in there. Definitely use that. Strongly suggest investing in some gloves, some barbecue gloves, the ones that one can really handle a lot of heat. Now, I love this igniter. You don't really need to have this thing to ignite. There's this starter things, little starter cubes that you can use by either Weber or by Green Egg that comes with it. This works really easy. 10-15 minutes, you're up and ready to go. It's very nice if you can get it for Christmas or you can afford it. I definitely suggest to buy it. And then lastly is a really good thermometer, digital thermometer. This is really good if you're doing some smoking and grilling. Have that off the side. And if you really have the ability to use an instant thermometer, that works great, but you really don't need it. And you also need a plate setter. Okay, one thing I also forgot to talk about that I think for me is extremely important to have, but you don't need it to get started, is definitely invest in some tables here. Unless you already have a table, you put your egg into a table and it's already there with some space. I would strongly suggest these. These things are probably a little less than $100, I believe. It works really great, and now you have a lot of space to be able to move things around, and it's very important when you're grilling, especially when you're barbecuing. Just want to be clear, I am not sponsored by Big Green Egg. I'm not sponsored by ThermoWorks. I'm not sponsored by all the little things that I've shown you and things that you need. I'm just, after 6 or 7 years of doing this thing, of using the Big Green Egg, these are things that I strongly suggest you use. It's made my life easier, it could make your life a lot easier, and I think overall you'll like it. And the Dirt Man suggests it, can't be half bad. This thing is awesome. I love it. And it will be a part of you for the next decade to 20 to 30 years if you take care of it. Just do some basic maintenance that you find out about it. Always put a cover on here. Put things where you can find it. And you're just going to love this. And this is going to be an enjoyment for you for many, many, many years. I love this thing. I love Big Green Egg. And remember, it's always a good time to get dirty.